we all have stories. We all have a place why we got here. We all had mothers, and it really addresses that thing that, you know, it's not for mine to look at how you got here. It looked at, you know, that you're here. How can I help you? And so really, we don't look at gender or race or sexual orientation or religion or any of that kind of thing. We really look at trying to address the person who's in front of us without a judgment of that person. And it's really been a building process. I think it's been it's really been building. We were really, when I said before, we would go out more. We were really, what we started was very mobile. We really never did anything on site. When we first started this site, and we got a grant for $50,000 to build the river fund from Kraft Foods, and then we got a grant to actually buy a van and, to buy our vehicle to transport stuff. I was first amazed that they actually, loved our documents and actually did it. But from there, it's like we really built on the mobile tour. When we first started here, we probably fed about 60 or 50 people or so, and I thought, oh my God, this is overwhelming. So I never envisioned that this would go to this level of, feeding 500 people a week to a choice pantry. Both space and having enough food available, we had to really curtail it to twice a month. So we go there the first and third of every Tuesday of every month. And we go there and we do what's called a table model. So we put on a table our food, and we actually put the food out. People come through and they pick certain items. They could have everything, or they pick certain items depending what they eat. And our other program is Under the Boardwalk, which is in Brooklyn, New York, on Coney Island. And we really started that in honor of our founder, Ma Jaya, because she was raised there. She was raised on the streets of Brooklyn and really was taught in Brooklyn what it was to be, to be on the streets, to roam around, and to be accepted. Boy, 3 wishes. I think it's really, I'm dedicated to this. It's my life's passion and work. I don't find it as work. It really is a joy to do. I just find joy in doing this, and in the hardship of doing it and seeing people really struggling, which is something hard to look at. So to me, it's joy. There's some kind of really a reward that comes back that is really hard to put into words, and serving another human being, really from that place of, really wanting nothing back, And so I think, for me, it would be really to do more. I just want to do more. And I think to do more, we obviously, funds are, I do run a business, and I have to have the practicality of having insurance and having a van and having gas. And having, salaries are a very difficult thing to come by, because nobody really wants to fund how you operate. They want to fund, which I'm grateful for. You want to fund buying toys, which definitely bring it on. But, behind that takes a business. And we've never started that way. We just started by giving. So I think it would be one of really moving to another site where we can actually create programs that really address the depth of what someone needs, address those things behind food insufficiency, why you're there, why your rent is, so high that I would either have to pay a bill or put a meal on the table. So for me, it's really trying to create other programs to really address what those needs are, and to really get into a child's life and find what they can use, and try to help them, give them some tools to actually face the world, to help them with, how to get into an education, how to really, battle those things that are in front of us. This is a very difficult world. It's a hard world. And, we're in a city. So, I could say, somebody could say to me, some of those kids we face in Brooklyn or in Queens, they go to schools where there is violence, where there is murder, where there are shootings, So, I live a very graced life in that I have all those things. I've been lucky and fortunate to have that. But, when you look at a little kid that faces, those kind of things where they live in 1.5 rooms, 5 people, it's easy for someone to judge them. Why don't they get off their, butts, to speak and go do it? It's easy to say, very difficult to do, to get out of that situation. So for me, it would be actually funding, and would actually be, I think our biggest thing is to get a site so that I think I can hawk more stuff. I think as the hawker and schlepper, I think there's more things out there, and I think there are a lot of things out there, and there are people willing. So I want the practicality of the physical things as well as the financial thing. We've been blessed, to come from where we are, to come from where we started to where we are. We've been completely blessed. But I don't think those blessings are done yet, and I think there's a lot more we can do. Best method is contacting us. We have a website, www.riverfund-ny.org. And on there you can contact us. Our number is 718-441-1125. That's our office number, and fax number is 26. We just created a partnership as we speak with Macy's. We got a call from Macy's, which, from no Macy's, and we wanted to offer you a possible grant. They said, wow, this is a nice phone call. Usually don't get those. And so this was, so we kind of talked, and he said, we have a small grant. And I said, well, do you have larger grants? And he said, we do. And I said, no, I'm willing to take the smaller one. And so we just put our grant in. But in that conversation, 2 weeks later, we got a call from Agnes, who's their volunteer coordinator in the city of Macy's, and we actually just partnered with them, and they've committed to take on our part of our Christmas holiday here on site. For 210 of their volunteers will come, and they're going to bring or commit to 250 toys for the children we serve here. And 250 is great, but we have probably more like 700. So there's more room and that's only on site. We have 2 mobile programs under the boardwalk and Street Relief in Rufus King in Jamaica that we also try to have. Well, we really believe in bringing the highest quality. We love new stuff. I don't mind dealing with some used things, but really I want to bring the dignity that what I would eat or wear or use, and I wear used clothes, but I want to bring somebody I don't want to give them something used. I want to give them something really, that they could look at and say, I'm not going to bring them a used Christmas toy. I'm not going to bring a kid a used toy. I'm going to bring them something new. And we have some wonderful partners. Tiedemann Investment Group in the city has partnered with us, and they found us online. And now Mike Tiedemann, who's now our board member, who's a wonderful man in their company, and they've been for probably the last 6-7 years at least, have done toy drives where they bring beautiful toys. Toys that are, would be beyond hard to come by. And we bring them to Brooklyn, and they've put smiles on kids' faces that have been cherished. So, we really believe in donations of all kinds, sizes. So we have a lot of programs. We start with food insufficiency. I think it'll always be our motto to really address food. I think this year through Costco and through Queens Mall Center provided knapsacks to probably over, I'd probably say 800 to 900 kids. And I'm talking about knapsacks and all those, all the pens, pencils, paper. Another great group has been, John Thiessen Toys for Sick Kids. I have to mention him because he's been a partner from our inception pretty much. And he met me as a young guy who was sick, was in a hospital, and started his own charity, does brilliant work. And I remember our first conversation, he said, well, what do you need? And I said, well, I could, so I was kind of hemming and hawing. He says, okay, straight up, what do you need? You be straight with me, I'd be straight with you. And he asked me what I needed, and he tried to fill my needs. So I'm really, upfront about that kind of thing. There are a lot of kids. And it's also not just filling a vacuum of stuff. We don't just try to bring stuff. We try to fill a need, a specific need. We do a coat drive with New York Cares and other places and businesses, Gold's Gym, where we try to bring coats, gloves, hats, winter things that kids wouldn't have. That actually go without. They're wearing our coats the next year that we provided through some great meal. Hope on Wheels is another great group in the city that's given us some incredible coats and great product that, brand new though. Everything's brand new. So we do a coat drive. Our Christmas thing is really extensive. We really work probably from, the year before we're already, the word hawking. We're hawking for more stuff for next year. So, we do Easter, we do try to do Valentine's Day, we do Thanksgiving. But it's really trying to find those things as a small group. What can we bring to the table? Donations are always, we thrive on, obviously the cash donation, but as well as the physical donation of product. But that comes back to the thing of space, so we're always trying to juggle our space from this year to next year, of trying to hold on to enough for next year, of being prepared. Right now we have stuffed animals and some toys to start the process for this year already, but we're low in supply. Thank God for Macy's, because they're completely filling a void at this point, and also to John for his thing, and also for Tiedemann for all they've done for us. So I've never found my place. It was always difficult to figure out where I belong, and I know I'm exactly in the right place. And I really have to give that to my teacher Ma, because she's really guided me into being who I am and to being at the right place at the right time, to living in awareness. So we have another name for God, and it's really kindness. I don't care what you practice. If it's kindness, that's all, that's really where we go from. So she was teaching, and this goes way back. I brought her this beautiful bouquet of flowers. So I handed her the bouquet of flowers, and she took them out of that hand, she put them in her other hand, and she proceeded to give that bouquet to someone else. And it was like, I went through this internal thing. It's like, hey, I just gave you the flowers. It was like, where are we going with this? And she said, you gave them to me. They're not yours, they're mine. And it actually was one of those brilliant lessons and moments that taught me into the giving is not into the looking back. When you give, and you give from that depth of who you are. It's not a looking back to see what I'm going to get from giving. So I try the best I can. And the River Fund, I think our mission or our statement is to really give, not to look back. Maybe to look back to see, can I do something further? Or can I give more? But not to look back what you did with it. They say sometimes when we give food, they're selling it, they may be getting a drink, they're, whatever. What can I do? I can't control. Human nature comes into everything. Into every part of who we are, both as at this point of being in a pantry to society to politics to everything. So you can't control all of it. All you can be responsible is for yourself in the middle of it. And I think that's what the River Fund, even our volunteers, incredible people. We have a lot of young people in the last year and a half have come to us, probably a dozen or so kids who come here every Saturday at 7 o'clock in the morning. Do I give them food? Yeah. Do I take care of their families? Yeah. You wouldn't want to come here just for that. They come here with a spirit that I think has changed the River Fund. They bring laughter and kind of this joy, away from all us old farts who are there. It's like a lot of older people. Unfortunately, I'm old now. So it's like, they bring really this youth and this spirit and this way of really moving around that really has, I think, brightened who the River Fund is. The River Fund really stands for that place of giving, of really wanting to give back, really not to look back, but to give back. We get calls all the time. I lost my job. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. We all know that it's right now the job rate and all those conditions. You can have a job and still be in that. So I think, you don't know by the grace of God where you are one paycheck away from being on a line. So, our place is not to judge anyone. Our place is to try to find out. Sometimes it might not be about food. Sometimes it might be about a hug, or it might be about just giving an ear or listening or being there for someone and trying to address all the needs. That's why before when we were saying, we don't discriminate. We actually, are here, because not of gender or creed or sexual orientation, because you don't know why someone's here. So therefore, we want to embrace all those. We want to know who you are and what your needs are and how can we help you. And they can be varied. So I think unfortunately the way the world is right now, there are, we haven't addressed this in our conversation, but we have a phrase, there are no throwaway people. And when you're hungry or you need help or you're homeless, it's like you're there because of circumstances. You're not throwaway. We want to know how can we help you. No one's throwaway. Everyone deserves to be reached out to, and everyone deserves to be cared for and to loved and to be held. So that, our place is only to try to help to fill some of those gaps in this big world. It is we're a little pantry in the middle, of Queens, New York, Riverfront in New York. We're a small little pantry that does a really overwhelming number of people for who we are, and I think there's a lot more we can do. And we need your help and we need your support to help us with that.